If you had to lose an arm or a leg, which would you choose?
Oh, okay.
I think Jess would lose an arm first because she's got way too long arms already.
Don't do the same job. Good question. I think I'd lose an arm because I think whilst losing an arm is quite a big readjustment. Like losing a leg, you really can't get anywhere. Although I guess a fake leg's probably a lot easier to work with than a fake arm. Do you reckon? I think I'd lose an arm.
How much would someone have to pay you? And I'm not saying this to me, I'm not being trying to be creepy. To take it from you willingly.
My leg.
Yeah. It's okay, the mag's pretty good. I can
Oh,
see
okay.
that.
Just checking you don't have anything in the bag.
There's not a saw in there.
Yeah.
A lot of money, surely.
It'd have to be a life-changing amount.
Yeah.
Is £1 million still a life-changing amount? I think it is.
Yeah.
It changed my life.
Yeah, I suppose losing a limb would probably change your life as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's true. So,
Let's say if someone, not me, didn't have £1 million and they were going to take it from you without your consent, would it be immoral?
Yes.
yeah.
Why would that be immoral?
Because I think it's something that you own or that's part of your life. And if someone were to take that away from you without your permission, it's something that you own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure necessarily giving money for it doesn't make it any less immoral, but it's the consent issue.
But let's say if it wasn't your limb and it was someone else's that you didn't know, would it still be immoral to you?
I think it still comes down to the question of consent.
Mm.
Like, if someone's happy to... I think we own our own bodies and the rights to do what we like to our own bodies. And if someone wants to give a limb away, whether it's for financial reward or for any other reason, I think it's that person's prerogative, really.
Yeah.
As long as that person is able to make a rational and fully considered choice for themselves.
Okay.
Then
I don't think we should make choices like that on behalf of someone else.
Yeah, I wouldn't choose for someone else.
No.
What if it was talking about someone who couldn't make that consent then? Let's talk about, let's say if it was a dog. Would it be immoral for me to take a dog's leg without the consent, providing they can never give it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it depends on what the purpose is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were... Say the dog had a disease on that leg and you thought that it would be in the best interest for that dog or for its living experience to do that.
So if you think it wasn't in the dog's best interest at all, and say if it was for my benefit, maybe I was selling it, whatever, you think it would be immoral?
Well, it depends, because my instinct is to say yes, but then also I eat meat. So
Yeah,
that's
true.
essentially what we're doing then, right, to animals.
Right.
But I think it's different when you're individualizing a situation. Yeah, and obviously we deal with dogs in a completely different way to, rightly or wrongly, where we deal with kind of animals that we're consuming and that we're talking about meat rather than them in a kind of animal sense.
If it was like a farmed animal then, like a lamb, would you see that as immoral? Taking it for like my own benefit?
I think I don't see it as immoral. But yeah, if you go through the argument step by step, then...
That yeah, it makes sense that way, but yeah. But then some things I think you do judge differently, and again, rightly or wrongly, or whether it's you can't necessarily, or we don't necessarily take the same moral things and kind of apply it to every situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I can completely understand why actually you could say that is still immoral. But equally, that's not the way I think about it, and maybe that will change at some point.
If you're going out hunting an animal for the purpose to, as a kind of sport, then I think that there's definitely moral issues with that.
What is it about that makes it wrong?
Well, I guess it depends on what... Yeah.
It's maybe taking pleasure in it.
Yeah,
than
taking
being
pleasure in the suffering of another animal.
Do you think that getting pleasure from an act can make it any more moral at all? So if someone gets pleasure from killing an animal, that doesn't mean they should be allowed to do it.
I don't think that should be a direct factor in it.
Would you say you're against animal cruelty by your own sort of values and morals?
It depends how you're defining it, because I would say yes, but then if you're including the production of meat in that, then I can't say I'm against that and then also say I eat it, right? That's me contradicting myself.
How would you guys define it then?
Yeah, well, you'd say it's an intentional act of cruelty, but I guess equally farming probably is seen by that as many people, or maybe if it's something, if I thought about it, I would see that. Like I would happily say, yeah, I'm against animal cruelty, because in terms of some like people, individuals acting on individual animals or anything like that,
Yeah.
of course I wouldn't think that. But if it's me contradicting myself to say yes, I'm against animal cruelty, but also I'm going to eat some fish later today, like.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not so naive as to want to be able to.
Yeah, I mean, let's say I had an animal here in front of you then, and I was going to hurt it myself. Let's say if it was a pig, and I was going to maybe kill that pig for food, would you try and stop me from doing it?
I don't know, actually. It's a good question.
I think if you saw someone doing that in London, you'd get away from them as soon as you could.
Probably,
Yeah.
I mean, if I was doing it for food, let's say I could have had like a vegan option, but I like the
It's not
taste.
for need, it's
Yeah, it's for like pleasure or habit, or maybe just because I've always done it. If it was a dog, would you try and stop me?
I think either way, I'd be pretty surprised by your behaviour. But and yeah, probably would. I don't know actually if I try and stop it. But then,
Would you see it as immoral if I didn't need to?
I guess how do you define need? Do you define it as literally need it in a life or death thing? Do you need it in a kind of, I don't know.
So let's say I don't need it for any health reason. I don't need it to survive. It's literally just for either habit or pleasure. Would that be wrong?
Well, I don't know. We can't, like as I said, if I eat meat, which I do, I can disagree with what you're doing in that moment, but I don't. Can I say it's immoral? I think it's immoral to do something like that in a public park in front of young children. I don't know. I think.
Yeah,
I'm just very worried that I can happily sit here and say what my instinct to say is,
Sure.
yeah, I think that's immoral.
Sure.
Yeah, I disagree with that. Yes, I want to stop you. But equally, if I'm then contradicting myself, which maybe I am, then I don't think that's necessarily.
I mean, that's the thing. I was exactly the same. So I was sort of eating animal products for most of my life, but I very much saw myself being against animal cruelty. I'd even like argue with my Muslim friend about halal meat and stuff because I felt like it was wrong.
Yeah, it's a massive
And
thing in the UK, right? People
right.
are really against the idea of halal meat, but
yeah.
also eat meat.
And then at the same time, I was eating animal products every day. I was eating KFC, I was eating McDonald's, but it wasn't because I was for animals being hurt, and it wasn't for a necessity either.
Just have it.
Yeah, just have it because my parents gave it to me as a kid. So I wasn't, a bad person. I wasn't doing it because I wanted to hurt animals. Just something I always did until I questioned it. So all we're trying to do today is to get people to question the behaviour, and that's it really. Get
So
people.
how long have you not been eating meat for then, or animal? Are you vegan?
Yeah. So I've been vegan for maybe like a year and 7 months or something, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said before that, it was literally every day. My dad works in the meat industry in a slaughterhouse. Like it was literally every day, constantly eating it.
Yeah.
Until I started to question it.
Yeah. Do you just go? Cold turkey is probably not the right phrase for veganism. What's another phrase? Just.
It was a gradual.
Yeah. Did you do a kind of gradual cut down, or did you just? Go
So for me, I was actually vegetarian first.
okay.
I wasn't really aware of the dairy industry and egg industry. Like in the egg industry, they do things like they grind up male chicks and stuff like that because they don't produce eggs. And the dairy industry, they separate babies from their mothers. Like there's all these things that go on I didn't know about. So I thought, okay, I'll stop eating animal products and that'll be enough. But then I realized whenever I was buying dairy or eggs, I was supporting essentially the same thing because none of the animals sort of make it out alive
Yeah.
and are all killed. I mean, do you guys think there's a humane way to kill an animal?
I think there are more and less ways.
Yeah, I think there are
right?
humane to kill animals, people, anything. There's an element where something is more humane and something is more cruel. But
Yeah.
I take your point that actually, it's the way we use it isn't really.
Sounds like a bit of an oxymoron, maybe, like humane killing. You wouldn't say there was a humane way to do anything else that seems so immoral, right? Yeah. But anyway, I'll leave it there. I don't want to take up your whole day.
It's interesting. Actually, I think it's interesting thing to think about. And as I said, it's not something that I've necessarily consciously made a decision, or I think most people necessarily consciously make decisions. Yeah.
I mean, when we were children, I think it just sort of gets put onto us and we're fed it. But do you think if we had the ability to choose as a child between eating an animal or eating like a plant, if we knew that animal was going to die, which one do you think we'd choose?
Yeah,
You'd probably choose the plant,
you'd
yeah.
hope they'd choose the plant.
I mean, I think also it's a question of the alternatives, right?
Yeah.
I think for 50 years ago, in a dietary sense, it was quite difficult to be even vegetarian, but particularly vegan.
And in
Because
some
you
places
didn't.
in the world it still
And
is,
so,
right?
yeah, some places in the world it still is.
We're very fortunate.
Like, so I think to some extent you need to be in an environment where you can make that choice and you can afford to do it, and you have the alternatives available for like proteins and whatever. But I do think we're now at the stage in society where you do have that. Like 50 years ago in the UK, probably not really to the same extent.
Probably even like 15 years ago in terms of like alternatives to dairy and things like
Yeah,
that.
true.
Really, that's something that's really
I
come in the last
hear about a
years,
new
hasn't
type of grain every month that I've never heard of. Like,
Yeah, well,
so,
like even at my work, they've now they're trialing like oat and almond milk, as well as dairy milk in fridges. Which
we
they
got all
haven't
kinds
done
of
in the
different
past.
milk, like
Yeah,
almond milk, coconut milk.
Yeah.
Like,
Abundance of choice now, isn't there?
yeah.
yeah. So
And
I think now
that's
you have
something
these
that also-
alternatives, then it no longer becomes necessary to
Sure.
But-
eat meat. Whereas
Yeah, but it takes a change in mindset, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Like,
Something you have to think about.
Time, yeah.
Yeah. So my last question then for you guys is, if you could live a life where you hurt humans, hurt animals, or hurt neither, which would you want to choose, and which would be more in line with your morals?
I think I'd like to say neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something to consider and to
Yeah.
think about.
How about you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, the same. My
Yeah.
what I'd want to say is neither, but I recognise that that's not exactly maybe how I'm living my life at the moment. But that's
Sure.
not to say it isn't what I'd want to do.
Cool. Amazing. Thank you so much. If I was to give you like a card with a YouTube video on it, would you consider watching it about veganism?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.